Okay, welcome class. I'm going to be filming a virtual lesson. Okay, this is going to be on Edpuzzle. You're going to view it on Edpuzzle, and how Edpuzzle works is I'm going to continue on the slide. You're going to listen, and what's going to happen is it's going to ask you questions. It's going to stop the video. It's going to stop the slides, and it's going to ask you questions about the slides. Okay, some of them might just be classic recall. Basically, what am I saying? You just spit it right back. Sometimes it might be more of a what do you think? Kind of what do you think answers or questions. Okay. Um, but first, I'm going to stop the video, and what is going to happen is you are going to answer some questions about the reading that I gave yesterday. So please fill it out. That will be the first half of the points. So it'd be 5 points total. This would be 2.5 points. And the next part of the slide, by just completing the Edpuzzle, you get the other 2.5 points. So the easiest 5 points in the world if you just complete those two assignments. All right, so I'll stop the video right now. Okay, good. So social Darwinism. We ended this last class. I really want to make sure you guys know this idea. So social Darwinism is the idea that basically whites and blacks didn't actually come from the same ancestor. Okay, they came from same or different ancestors, and because of that, they're actually very different genetically, which isn't true. Okay, we know this by science. This is not true at all. Okay, um, whites, blacks, whatever race, you share the same DNA as every other human in the world, okay? Relatively. There's only little differences in DNA that might contribute to skin color, and that's pretty much the only ones. But we are the same species, but people who believed in social Darwinism kind of had a different idea about that, okay? They use this idea to really say, well, whites came from a more superior ancestor, and blacks did not, okay? And because of this, whites thought, hey, if we came from different people, different ancestors, that means we actually need to fight. Okay, we need to fight to be superior. If you've heard, Darwin kind of had this key phrase. He said, "Survival of the fittest." So white Europeans said, "Well, if it's survival of the fittest, then that means we really need to 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 basically show our superiority over other races." Okay, and because of this, this gave a rationale for whites to go to colonize Africa, Asia, Americas, and whatnot. Okay, this next idea, this next slide is really going to drive in this point. Okay, so in France in 1907, just outside of Paris, there was something called the Jardin de Aragonimi Tropical. Okay, and all that is it's basically a tropical garden, is how you translate it, of the world. And this is where it gets weird. So again, this ran in 1907, and what this garden would do is it would get native people from Madagascar, Indochina, Sudan, Congo, Tunisia, and Morocco, and basically put them up in exhibits, put them up in zoos. People would walk around and just watch them behave, just like we do with animals today. So it literally is a human zoo. If this doesn't drive in social Darwinism, I don't know what does. The fact that we put humans in basically cages or exhibits and just watch them as if they're gonna, like, I don't know, fight another lion or something is just totally not right. Okay, it's not a zoo. These are people. But people who believe in social Darwinism believe no, they're not really people. They're very savage people. Okay. Um, the bottom point: the villages and their pavilions were built to recreate the life and culture as it was in their original habitats. Okay, really trying to make it like as if they're animals, which is not true. Okay, so um, I'm not going to show you this video. You're more than welcome to look it up on YouTube. It's called "The White Man's Burden" by Rudyard Kipling. And I remember you can kind of see in the painting, I showed you this earlier on Thursday, but all it is it's a poem that basically says it is the white man's responsibility and therefore a burden, because it takes work, to civilize people from Africa and China and Americas. Okay, when I say Americas, I mostly mean South America, Central America. And this idea really spread like wildfire. Okay, people all over Europe were saying, okay, it is really our white man's burden. We believe that these people are uncivilized, they're savages, and it's our duty to civilize them. Now it's a burden, but it's almost like a duty from God. Like we have to do it, or else we feel bad. Okay, obviously, by today's standards, we know that these people are not savage. Okay, but that was kind of the movement at the time that these people are savage. We must civilize them. It's a mission, and by civilizing, we also might colonize as well, take their resources and whatnot. Okay, I'm going to skip that slide. So I'm going to ask this question, and I want you to name as many of the ideologies as possible. How did ideologies contribute to the development of imperialism in the 1750 to 1900 time period? Okay, think about that, answer in a couple of sentences, and I will grade it. Okay, we're going to go to the next lesson, next unit. It would be 6.2, and this will be the last one of the day. Okay, so the big unit question is compare processes by which state power shifted in various parts of the world from 1750 to 1900. Okay, so the big historical development here is some states with existing colonies strengthened their control over those colonies and in some cases assumed direct control over colonies previously held by non-state entities. I'm going to tell you what I mean by this. So non-state to state colonial control is the big transition that's happening here. So this is evident by private ownership of the Congo by King Leopold II to the Belgium government. Okay, so before King Leopold owned Congo. Okay, well he took it from the Congolese people, but in European terms he owned it. Okay, he decided to give it to the Belgian government. You see in the second thing as well, the second point, you see a shift from the Dutch East India Company to Dutch government control in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Okay, the reason why King Leopold did that, he gives more power to the government. Okay, he didn't need all that money. It's better to make himself favorable by really bringing that money from Congo into the government rather than just keeping it for yourself. And the Dutch East India Company basically lost control as Great Britain really saw Indonesia as a great place to make money because all the spices and the trees and the gum trees and the rubber trees and whatnot. They basically kicked Dutch East India Company out. It is a company um, from their region. I said British, I meant Dutch. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, let's keep going. You can watch this movie if you want. It really talks about all the chaos that King Leopold did in Congo. It's truly traumatic. I definitely encourage you to look it up on Google, at least a quick Wikipedia search or a quick YouTube video search. It is quite terrific or horrific, excuse me. Okay, so big historical development. European states, as well as the United States and Japan, acquired territories throughout Asia and the Pacific, while Spanish and Portuguese influence declined. The United States, remember, they took the Philippines, they took Guam, they are taking many different islands, especially in the Pacific, along with Japan. And you see this clash of wanting islands in the Pacific really starts to become a problem when we get into the 1900s, especially around World War II, which this kind of clashing of United States and Japan eventually creates a conflict, which we know as Pearl Harbor in World War II, 1940. All right. So I'm going to ask this question. I want you to think about it. You may not know, but take a great stab. So, what factors do you think allowed the U.S. to become an imperial power in the late 19th century and early 20th century? Okay, look at all the pictures here. What might be helpful? Okay, think outside the box. Maybe don't think outside the box. All right. Same thing here. Look at this map. What factors allowed Japan to become an imperial power in the late 19th and early 20th century? Think about it, okay? Fill out your answer. What's unique about Japan that would allow it to do this? Okay? So this artwork really symbolizes the jump of USA and Japan going into this kind of colonial power family. Okay, you see France is on the right, um, the lady with the chicken on her head. Britain, you can see the flag. This would be Germany. Okay, I believe that's Russia right here. Italy, Spain is this woman right here. It's kind of hard to tell what the other three. I think that's Austria. China's looking over here. But you can really see all the colonial powers are welcoming Japan and USA to the colonial mix. All right. So I'm going to ask this question. What factors led to the decline of the Spanish Empire after 1750? Okay. So if you said, well, they might have had wars, yeah, they did. Okay. The Spanish suppression, um, the War of the Spanish Succession drained resources and further weakened the government. But if you noticed, they used to have a lot of colonies in the Western Hemisphere. Okay, Western Hemisphere, such as Chile, Peru, Mexico, Texas, that whole western coast of the Americas was now lost. And when people in the Americas were trying to push for independence, the Spanish did not like this, and they wasted many resources trying to keep that land. And so they were low on money, they were low on power, they had much debt. They weren't able to colonize in the same way that the United States or that the other European colonies, or European countries did. Okay, including the United States as well. All right. So another historical development. Many European states used both warfare and diplomacy to expand their empires in Africa. Okay, if you look on the left, it's probably showing more so warfare than diplomacy. All right. African nations usually lacked the military technologies that Britain had, that France had, that even Spain had. Okay. It wasn't mean they were less evolved or less um, or not as intelligent. They just didn't have the resources and the Industrial Revolution in the same way that Europe did as well. Okay? Europeans. Now, this is an interesting aspect. Europeans established settler colonies in some parts of their empire. Why would they do this? Okay. If you guess that it makes it easier to take control of that region, you're right. Okay. Why would we push people to live in Australia or New Zealand if you're British? Because you grow the population there, and therefore, when you grow the population, you grow power, you grow influence. All right, it's easier to control when you have more people. Look at Haiti. Haiti was outnumbered immensely by slaves. Okay, and because of that, they were able to be overthrown um, by the by the Haitian Creoles. Okay, second historical development here, second or third. The United States, Russia, and Japan really tried to expand their land holdings by conquering and settling neighboring territories. Okay, um, United States went into Texas. Okay, we even went into Mexico at one point. Russia is expanding west and south. Japan is expanding into all these islands in the Pacific Ocean as well. Okay, you can see Russia. And I want to ask you, what present day countries did they really take over land? Okay, and why do you think they did this? Look at the United States. Think about this again. What factors allowed the US to become an imperial power in the late 19th and early 20th century? Okay, really analyze it. Now, this is a famous painting in US history. Okay, it was painted in 1872 when the United States is really trying to push their land holdings west. Okay, because by this time, we didn't really own much part of the western part of the United States that we know today. The woman in white is representing an idea called manifest destiny. Okay, woman is supposed to represent the destiny that is our destiny as white Americans' destiny to basically settle west and take all that land and civilize people along with it. Okay, you can see the Native Americans on the left being pushed out, the American settlers coming in, and they are pushing them out as well. Okay. So here, I'm going to ask you two questions. What are the causes of imperialism from 1750 to 1900? List them. Okay, now that you did that, I'm going to ask you another one. What are the effects of imperialism from 1750 to 1900? Okay, we're going to end there. Make sure you finish that puzzle and turn it in. Okay, thank you.